This is the KMTV Boltzen 55 watt Fresnel style operation light. Now these are available in either 3200 or 5600K versions. There isn't a bi-color one available. Now these make for an interesting low cost alternative to say the old Dado DLH4, which was a very popular light that was used in a lot of shooters kits, and people are still using them today. Some of them are more than 10-15 years old and they're still going strong. This is a lower cost option. There's a lot of companies now that are starting to make LED variants of these sort of style lights. So let's have a look at the KMTV version here and just go through what you get and what the light can actually do. Now let's have a look at the build quality of this light. Now it's made out of hard plastic and also metal in different parts. Now the way its Fresnel operation, Fresnel type of operation works is that it uses a push-pull mechanism here. So if I want to focus the light up, I pull it out. If I want to flood it, I move it back. So this is sort of a little bit different to how a traditional Fresnel light would work. You can see in here is our lens. Now it's just a plastic lens. Now this is actually removable, so if I just pull this out here, so I'll just take it out, and here's your plastic lens, and there you can see the LED. This is your LED element here. These are a little bit different from what you may see on, say, a traditional 1x1 panel. This is just one LED light source. It's like an on-chip design, so you won't get all those sort of bad patterning effects that you tend to get when you use multiple little LED sources. So that's how it works. So you can see what happens here. In a traditional Fresnel operation, this would actually be moving back and forth. The lamp or the whatever's being used there would actually move backwards or forwards towards the lens, and this is what projects the light and gives you a narrower or wider beam. But in this case here, what's happening is when I put this back in, and it just clips in like that, is that all this is happening is that the actual lens here is actually moving further away from the LED elements. That's how it works. In principle, it works exactly the same as, say, a normal Fresnel style or a Fresnel lamp would do. It just does it in a different way. Now you've got mounting points here as well. This is where you could just mount it normally, or it does come with a yoke arm to put it on. On the back here, you can see this is where you can actually, the power goes in. It uses this little 3-pin connector here, and also you can see that there's this hole here. Now this is a battery sled for Sony MP style batteries. Now you have to be careful because this light draws 55 watts, and a lot of the MP series batteries only get up to around about the 45, 47 watt, so you need to use a specific battery. KMTV does sell one, but there is other versions on the market that will work. You just need to check, because if you try and use an MP battery that doesn't have enough wattage, you will find as soon as you turn it up to a certain level, the light will just shut off. So it's a good, interesting option here, because it does allow you to run a light this sort of size off a battery, which is very handy if you're a single shooter and you're going around into locations where you may not have any access to mains power. That is a nice option to have. So the light comes with barn doors, and you can see here they're threaded, so you have to screw it on just like that. Once they're on, they lock in quite nice and tight. Now here's the barn doors. Yeah, see, they don't actually move around like you would find on, say, a Dado light, but the way that they do move is that this front section here turns around, so you can move it around and adjust it if need be. Now it does use a fan in here. You can see all these exposed vents up the back here. There is a fan that runs. It is pretty quiet. I don't think you would have any problems with it unless you were using it very, very close to a microphone. So let's have a look at what you get with the Boltzen 55 watt fixture here. So you get this bag, reasonably cheaply made, but it's okay. So if we have a look inside here, we get the unit, obviously here, with the barn doors attached. Here is the mounting yoke frame with the tightening latches here. Put those over here. So this is the power supply, and you'll see it's got a little 3-pin connector here. Now the problem I did find with this light is you can see down here that this is where the power connector goes. So it sits in like this, and you know, it moves around a little bit. It's secure, but it's not super secure. The problem I found, just move this out of the way, is that if you have this up on a light stand at its normal position here, is that the power connector is hanging straight down. So if you put this up high on a light stand, this cable's only so long, so then all the tension and all the weight from this suddenly gets pulled back onto this connector here. Now that could potentially be a problem because it's going to eventually rip out or cause a fault. I'm not sure why they designed it to go here. I would have much preferred to have it on the side or something, or even if they had just put a little hook or something on the side of the light here so you could attach this cable to get rid of the strain that comes through this connector back up the line when you've got it up high, like I just said there before. That's the rest of the power cable. The end that you get can be changed depending on what country you're in. They can send you a particular one that works for where you are located. Here, nice little addition as well. This is a D-tap power cable, so you can plug it back into the base here, and then you can run this off anything that could provide a D-tap power supply. So say a V-Lock or an Antoine Bauer battery if you happen to be using something like that. Another good solution for powering. Then in here as well, you still get these 3 filters, sort of like a milky white, a soft sort of diffuser, and a CTO. I did found that this works actually pretty well. If you place this inside the daylight version of the Boltzen 55 watt here, it actually does a pretty good job at replicating a tungsten lighting source, and the photometric data that I got when I tested it was pretty good. So this is a good option, if you're looking for a bicolor light, then you can get away with using this because it comes with a kit. It ends up being a cheaper solution. Now the other thing I forgot to mention earlier too is I'll just take these barn doors back off. Get these filters out of the way. Now if I remove this out of here, again, take the plastic lens out, which I will there, you'll see that it's now sort of like open faced, and you can actually use the light like this without this on here, and it will create a lot wider beam spread. You do happen to still sort of get that roundish sort of pattern in the middle though that you will get from a small lighting source, but in a pinch it does provide for a lot wider beam angle, and you can use this to punch it off a wall or a ceiling to light up a larger sort of space. So a nice option to have. Again with these, there's a couple of ways of using them. You can just put it in front like this, and then put the lens over the top, or I did find there's a couple of ways of doing this really. I did find when you put the lens back in, there is a way of just, if you're going to use barn doors, you can just sit it literally in the front like that, and then just screw this back on. So if I screw this back on like that, and you can see it's sitting in there flush like that. I found this is a better option than putting it behind. Didn't really get any different type of result using the light by using it in either combination like this. I guess if you really wanted to too, you could probably take one of the softer diffusion ones and actually put it behind as well, and use a combination of two if you wanted to go about and do it that way. As I showed you earlier, this is the yoke frame that comes with the lighting fixture. Very easy to put it on. As I say that, trying to put it on here on the table, not doing a particularly great job. Just put that side on there, and I'll just put this side on here. see. Look how tighten these up. So it gives you full range, which is nice. You can actually move this all the way around to light up a fairly good angle, which is a nice design feature on here. Now these are only plastic. The problem I did find is even if I lock these off really tight, I can still move this around quite easily. They don't really lock off very well. Not a massive problem, but this does come with a Bowens. It doesn't, but an optional extra is a Bowens mount attachment on here, so you can put cheaper alternative soft boxes or light modifiers on the front. Now the only problem with that is you're adding a lot of weight on the front, and I have a feeling that this is just going to pull down like this because it's not going to be able to support the weight. This is something that I wish that was maybe made a little bit more secure for that very reason. Okay, I'll go ahead and attach up the light to some power here now so we can see how it works. Again, just plugs in here for the mains power, and there you go on the back. This is your on off switch, nice click, nicely made. On the back here you're going to see your dimming percentage, what it's at, and you're going to see the color temperature. In this case we've got the 3200K version of the light here. I'm not sure why they bother having this, because it's only available in tungsten or daylight, so I'm not sure why you need to show this. So again, this is your battery indicator, and it shows you, how much power is left if you were running it off an optional battery source. If you're using it on mains power, it's just going to stay full like that. You'll see this little thing here that says Wi-Fi on the bottom. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work yet. I guess you're going to have to have some sort of adapter that goes in here. This is going to be an optional extra. It's not available yet. It's scheduled to be coming, I think, sometime in February. Once you attach something to here, you will be able to use an iOS app to control the dimming of the unit and probably turn it on or off, but I'm not quite sure about that just yet. Here you'll see this is my percentage. What's nice is it's very fine night control, so you can actually adjust this all the way from 1% all the way up to 100 in small increments, and it stays on all the way down to 1%, which is really nice as well. Now the first time I took a couple of these lights out on a shoot and used them on an interview, I had them set up lighting a background, and halfway through the interview one of them just turned off without any warning. I couldn't get it to re-turn back on. After the interview I checked it, I took the same power supply from that unit and plugged it into the other one and had no problems with it. It came back on, so it wasn't the power supply. I'm not sure what happened to that unit. It might have just been a one-off bad a copy. I contacted KMTV and sent it back to them, and they sent me another one, and I haven't had any problems since then, so I'm just going to assume that it was a rogue unit. But it doesn't fill you with a sense of confidence when something fails on a shoot like that. So I'll just give you an idea of how it floods and spots here. I'll just turn it on. This is the 3200K version, and you'll see this is fully flooded with the front lens element in, and you can see that's how wide the source is. From this distance, I'm probably about 6 feet away from the wall. If I then spot it in, you'll see this is basically your range of what you've got. This is with the barn doors fully open. That's your spot capability. That's your flood capability. Of course, I can close up the barn doors if I want to and make a smaller source. Shape it up to whatever I'd like to have it in different angles. Things like that. Now I'll just take the barn doors off. Here. And I'll actually take the front lens element out, which I've done now, and you'll see that's how much wider the source is here. So you can see It's reduced down because it's not being spotted, so the actual output is being spread over a lot of wider areas. So you can see it's considerably darker, but you can see how much wider that is. If I just put the lens back in to its spot, you'll see, there you go, there's the intensity comes back up, and of course it gives me that control there. I also did a quick test comparing the KMTV 55 watt Boltzen, the 5600K version, against the Dado Light D-LED 7 Turbo Bicolor, just to see the difference in terms of the range of flooding and spotting. And as you can see, the Dado has a lot greater range in terms of a wider beam spread, has a lot more range of angle movement between going from fully flooded to fully spotted. That's something that the KMTV cannot do. So there's a quick look at the KMTV 55 watt Boltzen fixtures, again available in either 3200 or 5600K. I think they retail for around about the $298 mark, and you get all those accessories that I showed you before. There is some optional extras. There's a V-mount plate with a bracket on it to put on light stands, a light stand, the Bowens adapter as I told you earlier. There's some of the optional extras, all reasonably priced. All in all, I think KMTV have done a pretty good job. For $298, it's hard to argue. I do have some small quality concerns with the light, and reliability over a long period of time would probably be right up there with my biggest concerns. But in terms for bang for buck, it's an impressive light. Very good photometric scores, puts out a decent output, reasonably versatile light, and again, good powering options, variety of powering options, and very affordable. If you're looking for a Dado alternative, it may not have the durability and some of the sort of higher end features that the Dado has, but the KMTV is definitely a good solution if you're on a budget, and it provides a high quality source for not much money.